Continue to celebrate Medgar Evers on what would have been his 100th birthday.
Yeah, in this 3 on Your Side special report, Samantha German takes you to his office in Jackson, located directly above a popular restaurant on a street one community is trying now to revitalize.
So this is the inside here. It's been mostly gutted now. You come through here, and his office was right here.
And this is the window that he would look out of.
Yes, that's the window he would look out of. And if you listen, you can hear the cooking.
The Big Apple Inn here in Jackson fuses cultures together. Gino Lee, fourth-generation owner of this well-loved establishment, says in the 1930s his great-grandfather moved from Mexico City to Jackson with his mother's handmade and hand-rolled special recipe of hot tamales. This particular street for the family startup was intentional.
Ferris Street back then was the place where all African Americans, and I can't even just say African Americans, I would say all minorities gathered. But there were a few Hispanic, my great-grandfather, and a few Lebanese that were peppered in down here. This was the only place in town that they could gather and trade. You know, they couldn't go to the white sections of town because they weren't accepted. So this was the melting pot for black folks.
A melting pot and retreat. Most of the buildings here on Farish were built by a millionaire named Dr. Sidney Redman, a black professional known to be one of the wealthiest men in the state of Mississippi and in the Southeast.
They said that you could see him driving up and down the street in his limousine with a driver. I mean, isn't that cool? In the 30s.
Today, business owners here on Farish Street say it's a dying street. But from the 20s to the 60s, this street, sometimes dubbed Black Wall Street, Black Mecca, and even Little Harlem, was very much alive.
The likes of Ike and Tina Turner and blues legends like B.B. King walked this street of Farish. And while Medgar Evers worked as the state's first field secretary for the NAACP, right above the Big Apple Inn, Dr. Martin Luther King and Fannie Lou Hamer walked up these same steps to his office, where headlines of history now scale the walls.
That was considered one office right there. And see how tiny it was? This was like a little reception area, and then that was an office.
In this 10 by 10 office space, it was nearly impossible to hold meetings, so these important conversations would seep down into the restaurant, creating a special backdrop for some very special moments in history. As civil rights leaders continued to march for equality, change swept the nation.
Integration was great for the black man, but terrible for the black businessman. Because once the black people realized that we were allowed to go to white establishments to eat, we stopped going to our own.
Wood studs now expose where Evers' law books once were shelved, and boards now block what would have been his view. But just on the other side of his office window, down the street, past a church, a funeral home, and remnants of services like doctor and law offices, the spirit of what once was still lingers.
Marshall's Music and Bookstore is the oldest bookstore in Mississippi. It is the oldest black-owned bookstore in America.
Children who once got everything they needed in these businesses on Farish are now new owners and keepers of them, determined to preserve.
We go to all the JRA meetings, we go to the city council meetings, we have community meetings just to keep the dream alive.
If you listen,
A lot of customers still coming in.
Oh yes, and hers is super busy.
Busy.
All the time.
you can hear the soul of Farish remembers.
Farish Street for us was not only Black Wall Street, but it was a sanctuary, a type of promised land that allowed black people to have dignity when we shopped. We were able to shop and enrich each other. We were able to walk on the sidewalk without having to dip off of the sidewalk.
An old, well-lived street, holding the door open, waiting and wanting to fully come back to its truest self. Samantha German, 3 on Your Side.